Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Golf Center here on WHHI Sports. Along with Bob Stevens, I'm PGA professional Chris Tremblay, and a fun show we have this week, Bob.
We do indeed have a fun show. We're going to talk golf equipment a little bit with the general manager of Edwin Watts. We're going to talk with Kim Likins, who is the director of the Boys and Girls Clubs, about the first tee is finally coming to Hilton Head Island. That's going to be terrific. Yeah, Brady Boyd of Heritage Golf Group. We're going to talk with him about some improvements that have been made to the Heritage courses, one in particular and one on the way. That'll be fun. And then we're going to talk to my idol. How about that? Not Jack Nicklaus, not Arnold Palmer, not Lee Trevino. Leo Luken, who lives right here on the island, that did something this week that we all dream we could do.
It's going to be fun
sometime. We're going to talk with Leo in just a few moments first. Big week in golf.
Big week in golf, and Henrik Stenson, the hottest player on the planet, captures the Tour Championship by Coca-Cola, presented by Coca-Cola up in Atlanta, and with it he captures the FedEx Cup. And what can you say about him, Bob? I mean, he's been playing so well the last couple months.
That's it, and that's what the playoffs are all about. There are some guys who have discussed this whole playoff thing. Should it be so backloaded that the guy who wins all the money in the end is the guy who just happens to be playing well there? What if a guy had a great, March, April, and May, but doesn't win in September? Well, this guy proved you get it done when it's playoff time. He played so well, and again won the FedEx Cup, first European winner of the FedEx Cup. Former Players Champ, a guy, can talk about this for a moment, a guy who was up there, was in the top 10 in the world, then lost it all. Literally lost it.
Fell down to over number 200 in the world and has made a wonderful comeback. And if you look at the way he's played, like I said, the last few months, and particularly in the playoff events, he led ball striking in 3 of those 4 events, and if you're putting pretty well, that probably means you're going to have a pretty good series, which leads him to the FedEx Cup Championship.
If you're leading in ball striking, you're giving yourself chances. That's what these guys talk about. Give me some chances, and he certainly had a lot of chances. He's a funny guy. The best part is we're going to get to know a little more about Henrik Stenson over the winter and into next year as he defends the FedEx Cup title. He's a character. Remember, he's the guy who dropped Trow down in Doral a few years ago in order to hit a ball out of the water. So Henrik's got he's got an edge to him, and he'll be a lot of fun.
And besides, winning the FedEx Cup, which we're going to get to in just a sec, he's also leading in the race to Dubai on the European Tour. So he still has that left to finish up his year. So he might be able to capture himself a little double there. Let's talk a little bit about the 2 gentlemen who finished runner-up. First of all, Jordan Spieth came in second at the Tour Championship. What a year he's had. Probably the consensus rookie of the year. How isn't he, right?
Oh, there's no other
He's got to win. Yeah, he's got, 10th on the money list.
He almost won the FedEx Cup, and this is a guy who didn't even have status on the tour until he won the John Deere Classic in July. That's the kind of year he had. I met him when he was just a teenager in Dallas playing in his home tournament, the Byron Nelson, and still trying to graduate from high school. You could tell there was something extra there. There was something more mature about this kid. Not only could he play, but he had a maturity. None of it fazed him. None of it bothered him. And he's going to be great on the President's Cup, which we'll talk about in just a moment.
Well, we've seen what he's done, and there's no reason to think he's going to go in any other direction. Steve Stricker, the other person who finished second. Very interesting year for Steve. Only 13 events. Didn't have a win. Still made over $4.4 million.
I love the picture because this is what he's doing this week.
That's what we decided to bring up because it looks to me like he's had one of those years where he's going to take a little time off, so we figured we'd get him in more of a casual mode.
The bad thing about what Steve Stricker did is if I'm Tiger or if I'm Phil, I'm thinking, yeah, I could do that too.
That's right.
Be a part-time player, and in fact, I wonder if he even gets the medical plan because he's only a part-time player.
I would venture to say he probably does for all the years that he's put in.
What a great year he
really has, and we'll see what happens next year if he's going to continue on that trend to kind of minimize his schedule.
I think that's.
You think that's going to be it?
It's become successful, and again, I think other guys are going to think about doing that, even though there are so many more tournaments and so much more out there to go get, and that's so tempting to the players. I think a lot of them are going to cut back so that they are better.
They better have his wedge and putter game, though, that's for sure. Let's jump over to the FedEx Cup and sum up what's happened there. As we all know, Henrik Stenson is the winner of the FedEx Cup by virtue of his 2 victories and the victory in the Tour Championship. $10 million into his annuity fund, but let's keep in mind that just because you didn't win the FedEx Cup doesn't mean you don't make a little bit of extra money there too. Tiger Woods, who finished second in the FedEx Cup, took home $3 million. Steve Stricker, third with his partial schedule, took home $2 million. Adam Scott 1.5, Zach Johnson 1 million, and all the way down to 125, you still can get 70,000. So it's not as though you're getting nothing.
And that money you just mentioned is just out of the bonus pool. That's not what they won by playing in the tournament.
Yeah,
so
that's exactly right.
Yeah, it was a nice little payday.
It certainly was. Let's jump on over to the President's Cup coming up very, very soon up at Muirfield Village, October 3rd through 6th. Muirfield Village, Dublin, Ohio. I love the format because the first 2 days, everybody plays.
Yes, there's no coach's decisions about sitting this guy or this guy being tired or this and that. You go play. You're 12 guys on the team, you got 6 matches.
That's right.
That's terrific.
And I think that's the way it should be.
Yeah, and then you play 12 singles matches on the final day, and I think it's going to be a great golf on a golf course I absolutely love. Muirfield Village is a terrific course for this kind of a tournament.
Really is.
You can make a lot of birdies, you can make a lot of bogeys. It is as volatile a place scoring-wise as any place on tour.
Yeah, it should be exciting watching, especially from the fan standpoint. Last thing we want to touch on, the Ryder Cup. Tom Watson just came out with an announcement that he's going to cut the captain's picks for the U.S. team from 4 to 3. I thought the idea in 2008 for Paul Azinger was to have more picks so he could pick a Jordan Spieth and so on.
Indeed, and that's the kind of guy who would be left out if Watson would just as soon do away with captain's picks, make it easier on the captain to not have to pick people, but it might also hurt the captain in being able to grab a player who's hot, who's playing well. Could a Henrik Stenson have necessarily made the European team just on what he's done this year? Probably, but
he would have had a lot more U.S. points than European points, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all the time we have for headlines this week. When we come back, we're going to be with Bob Vastola of Edwin Watts Golf Shops right after this.
Welcome back to Golf Center. It is the height of the golf season here on the island, the fall golf season. So a really good time to get together with Bob Vastola, the store manager at Edwin Watts Golf. It is either the first thing you see when you get off the island or it is the last thing you see before you take the bridge to get on the island. Edwin Watts Golf in Bluffton. Bob, welcome to Golf Center. Tell us a little bit about what makes Edwin Watts different from any of the other great golf shops that we have here in the Low Country.
Well, I mean, the big difference is customer service. I mean, that's what the company likes to promote, is the fact that, you know, we're there for the customer from the second they walk in the door until the second they leave, answering all the questions that they might have and assisting them in finding what it is they need.
Awful lot of golf shops, you can go in and you can buy a club, or you can buy gloves and balls and all that other stuff. But that customer service thing goes an extra step further. You guys are actually full service. I mean, you'll fix them, re-grip them, fit them, the whole thing, won't you?
Correct. Yeah, we're going to fit the customer for the clubs. As all of us know, we're not all created equal, and everybody has different body types and physical abilities, and you know, so we're going to fit the customer, you know, specifically, you know, for the clubs that they need. And as well, you know, for their current clubs, you know, we're going to take care of them as far as, you know, regripping needs, reshafting needs, loft lie adjustments, anything that they might need to do to their equipment.
Bob, tell us about the club fitting operation. Do we have a lot of different companies? Do we have some components we can put together? What are the options that people have?
We have fitting carts from all the major manufacturers. So we have the ability to swap heads and shafts in different combinations to go ahead and try to find the best combination for the player. We use our launch monitor, you know, for our fittings, and you know, that helps us figure out the numbers and everything that we need to figure out, you know, to find out what's performing the best overall of maybe a few things that we might be trying.
Some of the most popular items out there in the golf world today are the items that help people measure yardages, the GPS devices, the Bushnells, and things like that.
Correct.
Tell us about what you have and the products offered there.
We carry, for rangefinders, we carry Bushnell, Leopold in our store, but we have access to all the other manufacturers. As far as GPS is concerned, we carry, you know, Garmin Bushnell, Callaway, Golf Buddy, Sky Caddy, all of those. And, you know, we try to help the customer figure out what's going to be best for them. GPS is very good for the average player because it kind of gives you a little bit more margin of error, front of green, back of green. You know, it gives you an idea of how much you have to work with. Rangefinders are specific yardage, and that's better for the better player.
And for those of you who play a lot in the low country, if your GPS will take you to Old South, just when you make the turn to go to Old South, there's Edwin Watts Golf. Maybe that was the way I should have explained where it is.
Correct.
Folks can find you online as well?
Absolutely, EdwinWattsGolf.com.
Great, and that'll take care of a lot of your needs as you head into the fall season. Bob Vastola, thank you so much for joining us, the store manager at Edwin Watts Golf in Bluffton. Welcome back to Golf Center. Leo Luken is 95 years old, lives at Palmetto Dunes, and on Tuesday shot a 92. Okay.
Not bad.
That's pretty darn good. He shot his age for the 1,000th time by doing that. That is just absolutely, he's my hero. Leo Luken joining us here on Golf Center. Leo, 1,000 times, and you didn't even take up the game until, how old were you when you took up the game?
I was 45 years old. The reason I didn't start earlier was because I didn't have enough money to join the club, and I was pitching softball for 23 years, fast pitch softball, and I had to wait till that was ended before I...
Yeah. You are a Hall of Fame softball pitcher. You and your wife taught dancing, didn't you?
Yeah, we taught for 23 years ballroom dancing in our basement at Scottwood Court in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and we had 6 children, and we had to pick up some extra dough to get them through college and weddings and everything else, orthodontists.
That sounds like the secret to staying young and nimble is to have activity like that. Leo, tell us about the last few rounds leading up to you breaking your age for the 1,000th time. It's had to be pretty exciting coming up here, huh?
Yeah, I was up to 999, and everybody I know was rooting for me, but I think I choked to death a couple days.
This game's hard, isn't it?
One day I hit 4 balls in the water, and of course that took care of that. And then one day I double bogeyed the last 3 holes.
Boy.
But yesterday I finally managed, even though I had a 9 on number 8th hole, and still managed to shoot 92.
So you had a little bit of room. You had a 3-stroke buffer there.
Tell us about the Sandy Birdie, though.
Oh, yeah, I was in the trap on number 6, and
on the Fazio course.
Right,
at the Fazio course, and I holed it out for a deuce, and I happened to have a shot on that hole, so I won a skin, but...
That's the important part. There you go.
Actually, the holing out the sand shot, I think that was only my 3rd time in my life that I ever holed one out of the
Timing's everything.
It certainly is. You've had the chance to meet some of the legends of the game because of what you've done. A few years ago, you were down at the Villages in Florida in a shoot your age competition. Tell us what it was like to meet Arnie Palmer and Gary Player.
Well, it was really great.
Well, one of the interesting features of the tournament is what? You have to pick up your ball when you finally get to your age?
Yeah, one of the rules was that when you got to your age, like if you were 75 and you shot 75, you'd had to pick up your ball.
So where did Gary Player have to pick his up that day? Tell us about that.
Gary Player hit his drive on 17 and he had to pick it up. And
that was it for Gary.
I told my wife, I said, that's probably the first time that Gary Player ever was kicked off of a golf course.
You're probably absolutely right. Leo, tell us what you think is one of your secrets to your longevity and being as fit as you have been for all these years.
Well, I always stayed away from any weightlifting because some of those guys were muscle bound, I thought, when they quit lifting. But I never drank too much, and I tried to eat right. I eat a lot of oatmeal and bananas.
There you go, oatmeal and bananas.
It's a good secret.
But I stayed in pretty good shape, and when I was pitching ball, I used to run and run and run. And years ago, I played racquetball and sports at night or in the winter time to stay in shape.
Well,
And our
USD.
dancing, I think, was
Yeah.
one of the things that kept us going. Our legs were pretty good shape from all the dancing, and actually it kept our bodies in shape too.
A lot of this game is about your legs and your back.
Sure.
It's not just the golf swing itself. Leo, thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Thank you,
We
Leo.
hope we're not interrupting another golf game. You got another 1,000 in you?
No, I think now that I hit my goal, I think I'm gonna lay low and just play from the senior tour tees and have some fun.
Wow.
Well, Leo, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to hearing about more of your adventures.
Okay, well, thank you guys for everything you've done for me. I appreciate it.
So from a 95-year-old guy who can shoot his age 1,000 times, we're going to go the other way on the age spectrum down to helping our kids learn the game and grow in the game. You've all heard about the First Tee. The First Tee program is finally coming to Hilton Head Island. Kim Likins of the Boys and Girls Clubs is joining us. Kim, this is a terrific opportunity for the community to get involved and for kids to learn the game and all of the great things. Tell us a little bit about how you got together with the First Tee.
Thank you so much for having me, and you're right, it is a wonderful opportunity, and it is one that Hilton Head Island has been seeking to accomplish for many, many years. Believe it or not, 2 years ago at the Boys and Girls Club, I found in a back closet some plans that had been drawn for a First Tee facility and discovered that throughout many years, Jarvis Creek Park, other areas around Palmetto Dunes had been considered for First Tee facilities, and the project had just never been able to take legs and move forward. And we were so excited to call the First Tee, have them come up from St. Augustine, sit down with us, work collectively with the Heritage Foundation, and spend about a year working towards getting our letter of intent with them. So we're really excited that the project has actually moved forward like this.
I would think it's the absolutely perfect location, at least for island kids. The Bluffton kids will have to come onto the island, but for island kids, perfect location right behind the Boys and Girls Club.
It is perfect, particularly because it's close to the schools and even for the Bluffton kids right across the bridge. So it's a great facility. We visited the Savannah First Tee, and they shared with us a story of a young man that literally changes 4 buses with a set of golf clubs to get to their facility.
Wow.
And they said how fortunate we were to be located right where our schools are.
Kim, so let's talk about what you see as being some of the immediate benefits of having the First Tee program here in the greater Hilton Head Bluffton area.
Well, you know, we are, as a community, known for the game of golf. We have over 24 world-class golf courses right here on our island. And so, of course, people think about Hilton Head, they think about golf. We want to certainly support the PGA in growing the game of golf, but for our young people, the wonderful thing about the First Tee is that it teaches life skills and character education as you play the game of golf. And so that works so well, particularly with the Boys and Girls Club, because so much of the skills and values that we teach are identical to those of the First Tee, and this allows our children and all children of the community really to have the opportunity to act out and practice those life skills.
Clyde Johnston, the great architect from the island, is helping you to put this together. How can people get involved? How can the community get involved in backing this thing? And then how can students get involved? What's the best way to do that?
Clyde has been fabulous, and of course we need other professional service individuals, you know, architects and building folks that could help with the facility. We also need volunteers. You know, a big part of First Tee is volunteer coaches, and it's a wonderful coaching program where you can learn online. It's a great mentorship opportunity, and so individuals who are interested in doing that, helping with fundraising, if you have fundraising skills or would like to do that, we have all kinds of opportunities.
Well, Kim Likins from the Boys and Girls Club of Hilton Head Island, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to having you on again to talk more about this.
Thanks so much.
When we come back, we're going to be with Brady Boyd of Heritage Golf right after this. You're watching Golf Center on WHHI Sports.
Always excited about new things and improved things, particularly in golf here on the island. And Brady Boyd is joining us. He's the Director of Operations at the Heritage Collection. We got a new golf course on town.
We do.
Didn't even know
Almost.
it. Yeah, really a new golf course. Tell us what you've been doing at the Arthur Hills course at Palmetto Hall, Brady.
Well, Bob and Chris, it's our pleasure to be replacing a lot of grass over at the Arthur Hills course at Palmetto Hall Plantation. We've gone ahead this summer since May 20th and replaced 67 acres of turf out there, everything basically except the greens. We're really excited. We're bringing the golf course back to the days when it opened and it was in great shape, and we're really excited to be able to do that for our resort guests and our members. So,
people who have lawns, did you grow the grass or was it turf?
Well, we actually sprayed it out. Most of our residents will probably be familiar with a product called Roundup.
Yes, indeed.
We did spray it out, and we cultivated it up with air fires and verticutters, and then we actually sprigged most of the turf out there. And then we did do quite a bit of sod work as well.
What are we, Brady, what are we looking at for a date of reopening the Arthur Hills course, and how do you feel like it's, come along?
Oh, Chris, we're right there. We're opening Tuesday, October 1st, right around the corner, so it's progressed really well. This, summer was, the high heat actually helps the growing process, and this was our time frame, so we're closing in on the deadline. We're really excited. There are some thin areas out there and some sod seams that we'll still be pulling together here in the next few weeks. Unfortunately, we've still got some growing time left in this process. And then actually it'll be a whole nother grow-in season next summer basically before we actually have terrific golf turf as most people are used to it. But we're 95% of the way there right now.
Speaking of next season, can we expect you to do the same thing at the Cup course, maybe?
The Cup course had some of the same opportunities that we solved this year over at the Hills course. So yes, the damage that we are fixing this summer was not quite as extensive over at the Cup course. So we'll do about 20% of the Cup course next year, fixing the mite damage. So we're excited that we've actually improved the situation over there and helped to make that project less extensive and is what we had to do this summer.
Take us to the website. Where do we wait? If we want to play the Arthur Hills course now that it's going again, where do we go?
Well, HiltonHeadGolf.net is our company website, so we'll be showing pictures there and keeping people updated as well. So, but we're real excited for our guests and our members to bring the course back, and it's an exciting time for us. Our company's got the resources to do this, and as you mentioned early on, we're happy to be keeping pace with what some of our friends in the neighborhood are doing in the hotel market and on other golf courses to keep Hilton Head fresh and exciting for our visitors.
Well, Brady, we thank you very much for joining us. We encourage everybody to get out there and check out the Arthur Hills course when it opens on Tuesday, October 1st. And that's all the time we have for Golf Center this week. For Bob Stevens, I'm PGA professional Chris Tremblay. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.